In the tumultuous and ever-shifting landscape of the 20th century, few conflicts have been as morally complex and historically significant as the French-Algerian War. This harrowing struggle for independence, which unfolded between 1954 and 1962, was a brutal and protracted confrontation that pitted the native Algerian population against the might of the French colonial regime. It was a war that would leave an indelible mark on both nations, a bloody and divisive chapter in their shared history that continues to resonate even today. From the outset, the French-Algerian War was a conflict of competing narratives and ideologies, a contest between the forces of nationalism and decolonization on one side, and the stubborn inertia of empire on the other. For the Algerian people, the struggle for independence was a long overdue reckoning, an opportunity to break free from the shackles of French rule and forge a new identity on their own terms. For the French, however, the prospect of relinquishing control over Algeria was anathema, an affront to the once great colonial power that had dominated vast swathes of the globe for centuries. The war itself was a brutal and merciless affair, a theatre of human cruelty in which both sides committed atrocities in the name of their respective causes. The French military, eager to maintain its grip on the Algerian territory, resorted to increasingly desperate and ruthless tactics in its effort to quell the growing insurgency. Torture, extrajudicial killings, and forced resettlement of the native population became commonplace, as the French sought to stamp out the flames of rebellion that threatened to engulf their colonial outpost. Yet, for all the barbarity and violence that characterized the French response to the Algerian uprising, the rebels themselves were not without their own moral failings. The National Liberation Front, FLN, which spearheaded the fight for Algerian independence, was equally uncompromising in its pursuit of victory, employing guerrilla tactics and terrorism to strike fear into the hearts of the French and their collaborators. In this war of attrition, both sides seem to have abandoned any semblance of humanity, succumbing instead to the darker instincts that lurk within the human soul. Against this grim and chaotic backdrop, the Organisation de l'Armée Secrète, OAS, emerged as a key player in the French-Algerian War, a shadowy organization that would come to embody the moral ambiguities and complexities of the conflict. Composed primarily of disaffected French military personnel and Pieds-Noirs settlers, the OAS sought to derail the peace process and maintain French control over Algeria through a campaign of terror and violence. In doing so, it would further muddy the waters of an already murky conflict, blurring the lines between right and wrong, friend and foe. Yet as we gaze back upon the French-Algerian War through the lens of history, it is crucial that we do not lose sight of the individuals who were caught up in this maelstrom of violence and hatred. The ordinary men and women, both Algerian and French, who found themselves ensnared in a conflict that was often beyond their control or understanding. We are reminded of the human capacity for both cruelty and redemption, and the importance of recognizing the complex and often contradictory nature of our own actions and motivations. In the end, the French-Algerian War was a watershed in the history of both nations, a conflict that would ultimately bring about the demise of the French colonial empire and the birth of an independent Algeria. The scars of this war, both physical and psychological, still linger to this day, a testament to the enormous human cost of the struggle for freedom and self-determination. And as we grapple with the complex legacy of this conflict, we are reminded of the dangers of unchecked nationalism and the capacity for violence that resides within us all. The French-Algerian War serves as a cautionary tale, a warning of the perils of blind ideological fervor and the ease with which we can slip into the abyss of cruelty and inhumanity. It is a conflict that forces us to confront the darker aspects of our own nature, to question the values and beliefs that underpin our understanding of the world. In this sense, the legacy of the French-Algerian War remains a potent and enduring reminder of the human capacity for both destruction and renewal. As the years have passed since the end of the war, the lessons of the French-Algerian conflict have taken on a new relevance, as the world continues to grapple with the challenges of nationalism, decolonization, and the struggle for self-determination. The story of Algeria's fight for independence and the brutal counterinsurgency waged by the French serves as a stark reminder of the enormous human cost of such struggles, and of the moral complexities that often underlie even the most just and noble of causes. The French-Algerian War, with all its horrors and contradictions, remains an essential chapter in the annals of history, a conflict that offers valuable insights into the human condition and the often fraught relationship between power, ideology, and morality. It is a war that compels us to reevaluate our own understanding of the world and our place within it, to confront the uncomfortable truths that lie beneath the surface of our own beliefs and convictions. In this way, the legacy of the French-Algerian War continues to resonate, a haunting and powerful reminder of the indomitable human spirit and the high price of freedom.